Welcome, my friends. Consider this function. Let's find the domain and range. The domain includes all allowable values for x that have an output in the function. It appears that this function begins at x equals 1, but does not include the value x equals 1, as we have an open circle at this point. To indicate we begin at 1, but don't include 1, we use an open parentheses. The largest value for x allowed in this function is x equals 5, and x equals 5 is included in the function, indicated by the closed circle. That means in our interval notation definition of the domain, we must include a closed bracket on the 5 to indicate 5 is included in the function. As for the range, this relates to the allowable values for y. The smallest value for y in this function is -1, which is included, indicated by the closed circle, so we use a bracket. The largest value for y is +1, which is not included, as we have an open circle at this point, so we use parentheses on the 1. Let's try another problem. Here we have a piecewise function, as the function is not continuous. The domain begins at x is equal to -3, but does not include x equals -3, so we use parentheses. X is defined until we hit x equals 0. But notice, neither the first part of the function nor the second part are defined at x equals 0, as we have open circles at both locations. So in our domain, we must use parentheses at 0 to indicate that 0 is not included in the domain. The second interval, represented by the straight line, starts at x is equal to 0, but does not include 0, so we use parentheses on the 0. The function includes values until we reach x equals 3, and includes the value x equals 3, which we indicate by a bracket. Now, these are two separate intervals, and the combined intervals represent the domain of the function, which we indicate by a union symbol between the two intervals. The range is a bit simpler. The y values range from y is equal to -2 all the way up to y is equal to 3. But neither -2 nor 3 are included in the range, as we have open circles. So the range is open parentheses -2, 3, close parentheses. Okay, let's try one more problem. We have a parabola that we would like to find the domain and range of. We have arrows on either side of the function indicating that it continues into the -x and +x directions. Now, if this truly is a parabola, which it appears to be, there is no restriction on the x values. You can plug in x values as large or as small as you want to, and get out an output, even though we can't see any x values on here larger than about 5.5, or smaller than about 1/2. Since there are no restrictions on x, we say that our domain is from -infinity to +infinity, which we close off with parentheses, as infinity is always closed off with parentheses in interval notation. As for the range, it should be clear that there is no lower bound. This function goes on forever into the negative direction with respect to y, but the upper boundary appears to be at y is equal to +4. Nowhere is this function higher than y is equal to +4, and +4 is included in the function, as we do not have something like an open circle. That means that our range goes from -infinity up to +4, and we use a bracket on the 4 to indicate that it is included in the range of the function. Alright, my friends, that completes our video relating to the domain and range of functions from a graph.